professionals like the ones we're talking about. And that is exactly how I got connected with IRA Club and Ramez in general. We met at a conference in Salt Lake City and just hit it off. And the amount of knowledge that I was able to glean from you just in one weekend, right? We sat down, we enjoyed a cigar together, and we spent a couple hours just talking about the industry that you're in. And, I've worked with a lot of different custodians, right? People that have been in your industry, several different people, and none of them have ever impressed me the way that you impressed me. Just in the amount of time that we sat down and had that cigar together. And since then, we've been building a relationship and getting to know each other more and more. And you graciously offered to come on here and to give this webinar for my audience, and I'm very grateful that you did that. So with that, I'll kick it over to you.
I just want to thank you for the kind words, and it's amazing what something that's so bad for you, actually, a cigar. See, I love my cigar, I love my bourbons. Something that's so bad for you, puts together these great conversations over a 45-minute, it takes about 45 minutes to knock out a cigar, give or take. But, you looked at me and you're like, oh, wow. And it was funny because you walked up to me and you said, I deal with other, self-directed IRA companies, but it's I was told, better yet, you said this to me, or was it to Mandy, who's actually going to be joining us? I think you said this, to Mandy, that you work with other fund managers and you've heard through other sponsors and partners that IRA Club's customer service is what, kind of stood out. But that's your job, right? First and foremost, Senate, is to be educators, not just help individuals, but help, people that want to put not only their personal dollars, but their retirement dollars to good use. And part of this conversation is going to be diversifying one's not only personal portfolio, but your retirement portfolio, and hence the word self-direction. And, full disclosure, it's just a marketing term we use within our industry. So if you want, I'll go ahead and kick it off, Senate. And I think that was a good enough of an introduction. Nobody cares about me. I think you're going to have to make me a co-host.
Oh, I thought I did that. Yep.
No worries. In order to give a short 25, 30-minute PowerPoint presentation. If you guys love numbers, this is what it's all about for me, is talking numbers.
You should be good to go now.
Thank you, sir. And just to confirm that you could see, hold on, and we're going to start from the beginning. Can you see it, just out of curiosity?
Yes, we can see your presentation now.
Awesome. So like we said, the harnessing the power of self-directed retirement accounts. I mentioned it is a marketing term that we use within our industry, but I also do want you to be careful. Within the last 2 to 3 years, I've been noticing the word self-direction being used by the classical brokerage firms in particular. We all know Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab being the biggest three in our industry. But I will get into that a little bit later. A little bit about IRA Club. The best analogy that I always like to give when somebody asks me, who is IRA Club? What is it that you exactly do? Well, I always like to say, think of, as I mentioned, Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab being a custodian. Most retirement accounts sit, in fact, 70% of those retirement accounts that I'm about to talk through is held with these three custodians. So IRA Club is one and the same, okay? The only differences between Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, and IRA Club is you could only use your IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, 457s to invest in the stock market, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and publicly traded REITs. IRA Club, okay, allows you not only to do all of that, right, but we also let you do alternative investments. We will let you use your IRAs or 401ks to invest in real estate, land, syndications, private equity deals, and so forth. So established in 2008 by Dennis Blitz, our founder, we have about 15,000 IRA Club clients. We manage about 1.25 billion. We've helped educate a little over 250,000 individuals one-on-one. We have a great team that will walk you through the process. I will get into that later. But I always like starting off, Senate, with a simple question. How safe is somebody's retirement account today? Because think about this. Everything is working against you. You're talking about the stock market being very volatile right now. We know that taxes are as low as they're going to get, and America as a whole has a progressive tax system, which means it's going to go up. We also know that government programs are in shambles, right? We're talking about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. In fact, our government has dished out $2.6 trillion in the last 2 years, and these numbers are not sustainable and adding to our debt, right? That's just spiraled completely out of control. And as of last week, or about a little over, a little over a week, about a week and a half ago, the inflation number came out. It has been trending downwards, flat, up a little bit, back and forth between, or hovering around between 3 and 3.5%. So the point I'm trying to make about inflation is it isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. They're still trying to get it to about 2%. And inflation works against you, against the dollar, against your retirement account. So if we know all of these things are working against you, what must you do? Diversify your retirement portfolio. Senate mentioned we travel all over the country. I literally have a team of 5, me, Mandy, Dennis, Kasha, myself. We probably attend about 40 to 45 events a year. Me personally, I'm on the road about 130 days out of the year. Mandy, give or take, about 100. Dennis, about 100. So we are literally all over the place. But it's the same thing that we always get. Number one, we talk about diversification. Diversification is the name of the game for us. This is an actual IRA club clients. These are our clients, better yet. So one of the most powerful advantages that I have is I could see what our IRA club members are doing. Okay. So in the last, Senate, would you say in the last 3 years, 4 years, the market since 2019? Hey, Mandy, welcome to the party. You made it. But I was saying nothing but good things about you. I promise. I promise. Okay.
Now,
Um, so one of our fearless leaders in the Idaho Falls offices, as I mentioned, she's in charge of onboarding our clients, ensuring that they're in the right type of retirement account. Mandy, I know that you took a little bit out of your time, out of your time, and I know you had a really busy day. And I know your daughter has a big event going on. So I want to thank you just, for coming in for 15, 20 minutes, introducing yourself, and meeting everybody else. But Senate, I was talking about how has the markets been in the last, would you say, 3, 4 years in general?
Uh, all over the place, up, down, choppy, volatile.
Literally all over the place. I mean, you can't even. Listen. 2 days ago, everyone's screaming at us over here. Get my money out of Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab. Send it over to the IRA club. It bounces back 1.5%. It goes back to. I mean, listen. Until the actual election is done, we find out who's who, what's going where. I think it's going to stay volatile. That's the truth. But for us, if you think about it, where is real money made, Senate? Is it made in the stock market or is it made in real estate?
Definitely real estate. All roads lead to real estate.
All roads lead to real estate. That's why we tell you 90% of Americans that are millionaires have real estate inside of their portfolio. Okay. If you take a look at the last 20 years, in fact, I like to take a look at things decade by decade. But if you were to take a look at things in the last 20 years, I'm sorry, it's not as clear as I was hoping, so my fault. But if you take a look at the purple line, if you bought a house back in 2000, this is exactly what you would have made in value, in appreciation, which is roughly about 200%. Not saying not to buy a house. I think a house, everybody needs to live somewhere. But I do want to move up to the next line, which is the blue line, which is the S&P 500, right? If you put $1,000 inside the S&P 500 20 years ago, you would have made 321% returns on your money versus the real estate market. Whether it was a hard tangible asset, multifamily deals, private equity deals, syndications that involve real estate, you're talking about 2,100% returns on your money. Think about that. For us, we're always talking double-digit returns. But as me, Mandy, travel all over the country, It's the same 4 reasons why that nobody decides to self-direct a portion of their retirement funds. They leave it with their employers, or they have their IRA with Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab, or one of the other 10,000 brokerage firms. It starts off with education, lack of knowledge. You have to take control of your retirement account. And Senate, this is one of my favorites. When they do learn this concept, I'm too old to get started. I don't think that I should start now. When are you ever too old to get rid of Uncle Sam?
Never.
The average American lives until 79 years old. It used to be 80, but because of the pandemic, we lost about a year. So, with that being said, you're never too old to get rid of Uncle Sam. Two, the one thing that we can't do, me, Mandy, or anybody here at the IRA Club, is we could never choose the investment for the investor. The name of the game is control. The term self-direction means control. We're trying to take it away from them and giving it to you, the investor. And I hate to say this, most Americans are not savvy investors. Senate, you deal with this on a day in, day out basis. You actually have investment opportunities that you actually talk about, educate people on. One of the reasons why that you asked me to do this was to talk about this concept or this strategy called self-direction, but who's taking all of the risk is number 3. Is it you or them? Think about it. The only time that you ever get paid is when the market is up. If the market is flat or down, are you getting paid or are they getting paid? Senate, question to you. Market's up, you get paid. Do they get paid? Yes, right? The market's flat or down. Does Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab get paid?
Yes, they do.
Do you get paid if you have an employer's 401k?
No, not at all.
So think about who's taking all of the risk. You. And the best people that scare you away from doing this is your fiduciaries, registered investment advisors, and broker dealers. And they do this through artificial restrictions. Okay. And we're going to talk about some of those artificial restrictions. Mandy, you're not here for your good looks. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the IRA, the history of the IRA?
Yeah, so it was established in 1974 by Congress because fewer pensions were being offered, and we needed a way for our country to be able to retire. We were living longer, and there needed to be something there for us. And so the government thought, well, an IRA is a great way to go. And so they started it. And the first IRA was the traditional IRA, which is just that tax deferred account. So you pay for the taxes later, which allows larger contributions to grow further in with the plan. And then they opened up the Roth IRA, same idea, to get us to have some tax-free growth to incentivize people even further to invest in their retirement. And when they created that, there was only 4 restrictions, and the 4 restrictions are collectibles. So wine collection, car collection, stuff like that, you cannot invest in them. Life insurance, transaction with a disqualified person, which is going to be our job. We're going to help you with that every step of the way. And the last one is an S corp. And when you really think about it, it's kind of interesting because, you ask Vanguard, Schwab, Fidelity, what can I invest in? They're just going to tell you the stock market. But what we're going to tell you is anything except for those 4 restrictions.
That's it. That's the name of the game. Those are the only 4 things that you cannot do with your retirement account. So the rules and regulations that were set that Mandy was talking about back in 1974, was it 4 or 2, Mandy? Did I just lose my train of thought?
Nope,
74, right? Yeah, 74. Yeah. So think about that. 401ks, 403bs, 457s, TSPs, all of these are government contracts that stem from the IRA itself. Nobody told you what you could invest in from day one. It was just built into the contract that these are the only things that you could do within your retirement account. So that's what we're here to talk about. Who hijacked you? And Dennis Blitz, president of IRA Club, refers to self-direction as a gift because all retirement accounts can be self-directed and you could choose your own investments. I think it's one of the most underutilized tools for Americans to grow their wealth that much faster, because the true benefits behind self-directed retirement accounts is it gives you the flexibility to invest and what you know and understand best. I'm going to talk about flat fees a little bit later and why percentage-based models are not the way to go. But the icing on the cake for me is, how do you get rid of this greedy son of a you-know-who? Because one thing that you guys do not realize is when you use retirement accounts to invest, okay, you are not getting rid of, so Mandy hears this all the time. I hear this all the time. I'm only getting rid of the federal tax rate. That's not true. You get rid of all taxes across the board. So think about that. I live in the state of Illinois. Our tax rate in Illinois is 6.25. Medicare is 1.5. Social Security is 6.2. Everyone's talking about that going up because of the Security Act 2.0. That's another topic of discussion. But I'm in the highest tax bracket, right, in the federal rate. So each one, I understand some of you live in Texas or Florida or Maine or Alaska or wherever that doesn't have a state tax, which is great for you. But if you take a look at that, you eliminate everything, because what we're trying to get at is there's a big way to how the wealthy do this. Like Mr. Peter Thiel took his Roth IRA account and invested in PayPal, not using his personal dollars, his Roth dollars. So I want you to see the difference between when you use your personal dollars to invest versus using Roth dollars versus using traditional dollars. So we're always preaching, me and Mandy, that you need to be looking at double-digit returns. You got to be at least 10% or more. Otherwise, you're going to work for the rest of your life. That's the truth, okay? Let's just say you move over $100,000 from Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab for the next 10 years, okay? You invest in Senate. Do you mind if I use you as the example? And I don't even know what returns you're giving. I'm just saying 10% or more, okay? But I want you to see the difference between traditional taxable versus traditional versus Roth. That $100,000 after 10 years will grow to 420.
Wow.
Versus if you use your personal dollars being at 302 versus using a traditional retirement account. So why are we such big advocates and we're always preaching Roth? Because it grows tax-free and it compounds tax-free. That's how you accelerate it 25 to 50% faster, depending obviously on how much you're investing, the rate of return, and the number of years, okay? But this is just a 10 years at a simple 10%. Imagine if you do more. Mandy, who's in the driver's seat? Is it you or is it Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab?
Well, I'm in my driver's seat because
I know you are. I'm saying,
Yeah.
I know you are. I know you are.
Yeah. Yeah. But if I always like to think about this in terms of if you're in a current 401k,
Yep.
they're giving you money, right? So maximize it, utilize it. But
Yeah.
once you've left that job, you got to take back the driver's seat. You got to say, nope, I'm going to start controlling it because they're no longer giving you those matching funds. So it's time to move on.
Yep. 97% of Americans, you know this, Mandy, in Senate, I'm not sure if you know this, but 97% of Americans leave their retirement funds in 3 places: banks, annuities, and the stock market.
Wow.
That's it. The other 3% are in control of it. Banks right now, well, their product back even in 1974 was a CD. So most Americans right now that are just leaving their retirement dollars in a CD, 5%. The best CD that I've seen out there is, I think right now, even Chase Bank is offering 5% or 4.95 on 10 months. Annuities, okay? In particular, I'm talking about fixed annuities, okay? And keep in mind, annuities are not a federal product. It's an insurance product, so it's not FDIC insured. But for the love of God, please tell me you could do better than 5%.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to
Absolutely.
think, you got to think better than 5% because the stock market's going to give you an average of 6 to 7% every 10 years. That's the truth. That's what we're dealing with right now.
The other
Because,
scary thing, and
please, Mandy.
yeah, the other scary thing with those annuities is even if they're giving you what feels like kind of a decent return, they lock you in. And so if you find something better, you're ready to take control of those dollars at a later date, you're paying a surrender charge that's astronomical. So it's like, it might sound tempting because it's guaranteed for a certain number of years. But like Rama said, it's not FDIC insured. So how guaranteed can it be? But then you really just get sucked down into that And I've had a lot of clients say, I wish I didn't do this so that I could get out of this account, but the surrender charges are so expensive.
You know, it's not just about that, because I could talk about annuities, and I understand, Mandy, and we've had this conversation and Senate, like we talked to over 1,000 clients, like literally one-on-one all day, every day. We see people's statements, we see these annuities, we see everything firsthand. And I understand everyone's goals and situations. And maybe you don't have somebody to pass the money along to, and you just want a fixed rate of return for the rest of your life because you don't want to worry about the volatility of the market. So maybe it is suited for you. But then if they find out that they could take their retirement account, and let's just say a hypothetical scenario, buy a house on 123 Green Street and generate cash flow for the rest of their lives, they're like, what was I doing thinking about this 4 or 5% annuity when I could be making 7, 8, 9%, and that's not even including the appreciation. So again, it's just, educate yourself. That's what we're here to do, and that's what we're here to always talk about. But these are my favorite three, Mandy. You know this. I love these three: Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab, and they love us. And that's not true, by the way. I have quite a few family members that actually work with Charles Schwab that are fiduciaries, and let's just say I'm not invited to the Christmas dinners or the Thanksgiving dinners because they think of me as the black cat because I'm educating their clients on a different strategy. But that's what we're here to talk about. As I said earlier when I started on the second slide is, and Senate said it, there's a lot of volatility going on. So when you take a look, because these are numbers that you could go Google yourself, okay? These are not numbers that I'm making up, but according to CNBC and according to Fidelity, 2021, okay, everybody was loving life. We dumped trillions of dollars into the economy. Everyone's 401k, the average 401k had about $135,000. Well, by the end of 2022, that dropped by 23%. And I know so many people, and Mandy knows this firsthand, that dropped about 23%. This is the average. IRAs dropped 23% for the 401k, 20% for the IRA, and 19% for the 403b. Okay. Fast forward, it bounced back, guys. It bounced back big. 401ks jumped 14%, IRAs jumped 12%, and 403bs jumped by 11%. But wait a second. I started at 135, and I'm on year number 2, and I'm still down. Senate, where do you think 2024 is heading? Out of curiosity.
Kind of scary right now. Looks like a down year.
So listen, let's just say hypothetical scenario. Can you see this? August 7th at 10:09 this morning,
Yeah.
I pulled out, where is the stock market at? Year to date, 4.5%. Okay. Year to date, it's up 4.5%, but that's not the point. You were down from 2021, down 23%. You went up 14% and you're up 4.5% for the year. Are you still down from 2021?
Yeah.
Yes, you are, because this is what you're giving up. This is what I feel is one of the most powerful slides of this presentation. It's not money, it's your time. There have been 50 recessions. 12 recessions. Forgive me. No, 50. There's a big problem. There are 50 recessions, but 12 recessions in the last 50 years. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all of them, but many of us do remember the 2008 crash, where we lost half of our 401ks. So think about this, Senate. If you wanted to retire at 60 and you had $500,000 and you literally a year before you were going to retire, you lost half of it. So you're down to 250. Can you retire on that? No, you had to work an additional 4.3 years of your life. You had to give back to the workforce in order just to get to that break-even marker. So that's what I'm trying to get at. Fast forward to the COVID pandemic. It dropped, the S&P 500 dropped 20. Your 401ks I showed you dropped 23%. So bare minimum, by the end of 2024, you have given up 3 years of your life to get to that break-even point.
Wow.
Because this is the ugly truth. The system is designed to benefit them, not you. This is their definition of a pension. That is not our definition of a pension. This is their definition of diversification because they do this through artificial restrictions. Mandy said they're going to give you an employer match, but you can't control the money. I can't pull the money when I want to pull the money. I'm not saying not to take the 3%, but think about it. If they're not giving you an employer match, why do this? When you could open up an IRA, put $8,000 in there. Sorry, 7 went up another 500, 8,000 if you're over the age of 50, and be in control of it. That's up to you to decide. That's not up to me or Mandy or IRA Club or Senate to decide. And be careful. I mentioned this earlier. I hear this all the time from registered investment advisors and fiduciaries. Okay. You are not self-directing with them. They just don't want you to pull their money out because then they lose their 1% commissions over to the IRA Club. So be careful. The question that you should be asking them is, let's just say you hear this presentation and you walk up to your broker, your fiduciary, registered investment advisor, and you say to them, I found this great investment opportunity with Senate, or I found this house on 123 Green Street. I want to use my IRA or 401k to invest. What do you think they're going to say to you, Senate?
They're going to say you can't do that.
Can't do that. That isn't part of the portfolio. That's a prohibited transaction. But here's a pool of other investments that are in the same asset class. They're going to try to throw you in a REIT, right? And a REIT's going to give you what? 3%, 4%? Look up that number too. I don't have to disclose that to you. Google it. Because the average starting salary, I want to show you the difference between IRA, them and IRA Club, okay? Meaning them, any one of the brokerage firms that you're dealing with. So from 2021, we saw that it was $135 for a 401k. The average IRA Club client had $253. Full disclosure, this does not include minor accounts. I want to be honest and upfront with everybody, okay? Not including minor accounts. Fast forward to 2022, it dropped down to 103, 104, but wait a second. Our clients, the average account went up to 284. Why is that? Simple. It's just they're in control of their retirement accounts. And by 2023, it went up another $4,000, where you're still playing catch up with everybody else. Senate, this is the scariest number, I think, out of all these presentations that I do, or these slides that I do, better yet. There are 65 million IRA Club accounts. I'm sorry, I wish there were 65 million IRA Club accounts, but 65 million IRA accounts across the country, of which only 63 million of the 65 are under $1 million, whereas only 2 million accounts have $1 million or more. Wow. 2 million of the 65 million have $1 million or more. And it's simple. They're just in control of their retirement dollars. That's it. You have to diversify your retirement portfolio. No questions asked. Otherwise, again, you work forever. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about fees, because this is what's really, this is for me personally, this is the icing on the cake when Mandy or myself show this. The average 401k, and I should backtrack and say 83% of employer 401ks sit within mutual funds. Mutual funds are comprised of large, mid, small, international stocks and bonds. That's their definition of diversification. But they also have the highest fee-based structures. In fact, within the first 5 years, it's 4.2%. Google it. Now, the longer you stay with your employer, the fees will start to drop down. There has been a major shift with the big three trying to get people back to them. And we've been noticing in the last 3 years, it shifted to about 2.25% to 2.4%. But still, 62% of Americans don't even know that there's hidden fees incorporated into these mutual funds. 18% of individuals actually even know how to read them. But these are the fees that I want you to be aware of. And they tell you, your broker and your fiduciary is like, yeah, they're very minute. You don't have to worry about them. It's like 10 basis points or like 0.15, 0.15%. I refer to these as termites that just keep eating away at your retirement account. because the average fees are between 1% to 3%, depending if you're in control or if they're in control. This is the national average versus the IRA club. It's $195. And Mandy, we don't care if there's 10,000, 100,000, or 10 million. What's the most that they could take? We could take from our clients.
195.
So, Mandy, how the heck do we make money?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a Costco model where we are going to charge per asset. So each asset you're going to pay $195, but we're really working towards helping a number of clients because we're not managing your account, we're not going in and telling you what to do with the account and that kind of thing. We're able to help more people with a smaller staff. And so we've got, I think maybe Brahma's even mentioned, we've got about 35 employees, and we're able to help all of our clients, because once they figure out the process and once they understand that they're going to move money into their self-directed IRA and then they direct it, we're not managing the market. We're not managing their different investment opportunities. We're just helping them get into them.
Absolutely. And I think, Senate, there are these great calculators on our website. If you go to iraclub.com, go to our resource center, there's these calculators that are all geared towards retirement accounts. Okay. But this one was customized for IRA Club. So think about this. I like to look at things decade by decade. Okay.
Yep.
If you had $100,000 and you moved it over from Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, or again, one of the 10,000 brokerage firms that are out there, over to the IRA Club for the next 10 years, assuming you're either contributing or getting cash flow of, let's say you're putting $7,000 back into your retirement account, and again, 10% returns, or better, okay? IRA Club's fees versus Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab, 1% to 3%. Look at what IRA Club will save you just in the fee structure alone in the next 10 years at 10%, $70,000.
That's huge.
Well, picture that.
Yeah, and I do have to say, because I'm a former math teacher, so when I look at that, go back a slide real quick, Ramas, for me. Because we just got done saying we're not a percent-based model yet. We put 0.4 in there. And that is as close, because of the way the calculator was created, we're not able to put a flat fee in. So you're paying that flat fee, which is the closest we could get to the 0.4%. But keep in mind, even that is not going to be accurate, because as your account grows, your fees will not grow. They're going to stay that same consistent 195 each year. So it's even better than that, the dollar signs that are up in the corner.
Well, imagine, Senate, just out of curiosity, what kind of returns do you like when you talk about some of your syndications or your private funds? Well, roughly, what are you seeing on your side when you talk to investors or students or clients?
My baseline is 20% and average annual return. Double your money in 5 years.
God bless. God bless. I have it as high as 16%. So imagine if you made 16% returns on your money, and Senate's even talking about a higher number. IRA Club, just in fees alone in the next 10 years, will save you $111,000.
Wow.
That's not my money. That's not Senate's money. That's not Mandy's money. That's your money that they're taking away from you. And who's taking all of the risk? You or them?
Definitely. Yeah.
Mandy, you talk to clients more than I do. Why don't you tell everybody what we offer our clients?
I really like to go over this because it really separates. And what we've noticed is that the customer service you get with these bigger companies is just not there. I mean, I had 3 appointments on Monday alone that were saying we can't get a hold of anybody. We can't talk to a person. And so when we talk about white glove, we are saying individual service. So you sit down with me one-on-one. We talk about what your goals are, what you're looking to do, what kind of account to open. We help you through the application process. And then you're given a client care specialist, Dan, Emily, or Jill, and they are going to walk you through the transfer process and the investment process. So you're handheld all the way through, which really, really separates us from our competitors, because once they get you into their club or their account, then they just kind of write you off and say good luck. Whereas you call us, we're not a call center. You're always going to pick up by a person saying, hello, what can we do to help you? So that's huge in and of itself. We're FDIC insured. Yep. And we have a trading platform. So what we were noticing is that people with returns, whether they were in a syndication or had a rental or something, the money coming back into their account, people didn't quite know what to do with it. So we partnered with a trading platform. So now you can take any of those rental returns or dividends off of
Or
your
Senate's
return.
dividends, 20%
Yeah.
dividends, right? Back
20%
when it goes back.
dividends.
Yep.
And go right over into iFlip, and iFlip is a trading platform, so you can go right into the stock market and still not pay those fees that they're charging over at Fidelity and Vanguard and Schwab.
Well, let's take it a step back. Do we charge an asset fee of $195 if somebody wants to go trade their own stocks or use our AI platform? Do we charge anything?
Nope, we don't charge no asset fees. So it's just for you to open up that account and use as you want.
Wow.
So the best of all worlds. And I didn't mean to steal away your thunder, but we're the only self-directed IRA company to offer an AI-driven platform. So that's a really big deal. Like, everybody thinks we have a problem, Andy, you know this firsthand, or Senate, that we have a problem with the stock market. No, we like the stock market. We all like, but we know how to use it to our advantage, right? We don't put all of our eggs in one basket. We're looking for double-digit returns 1,000,000 times over. So up-to-date resource centers, we do all the tax filings for you. If you want a checkbook IRA LLC, please talk to Mandy. A lot of our competitors are talking about checkbook IRA LLCs and solo 401ks where you're in full control. We don't mind it, okay? I'll be honest with you, we make a lot more money off of them, but that's not the name of the game for us. The name of the game is to protect our clients. So if you don't know anything about self-directed retirement accounts and you don't know any prohibited transactions, or if you think you're causing a prohibited transaction, don't do it, okay? You will get caught through time. And we talked about the flat fee structure, okay? Mandy, you talk about the process all day, every day, 10 times a day, 50 times a day. How about you tell everybody, what does the process look like on your side when you're talking to a client?
Yeah, so the great thing is that we can actually do this together. So depending on, your tech savvy or what you want to do, I'll either send you a link to do this on your own, or you and I will just do it together. It takes a few minutes to open. You do need a driver's license or social security, driver's license or government issued ID. Because it is a federal product, so they do want to verify you are who you say you are. You want to have a beneficiary identified and your most recent statement. All four of those things, if you've got those in hand, you're ready to go. It's a couple minutes to open your account. You can fund in 3 different ways. One is your annual contribution. I think Ramez has mentioned it a couple of times, $7,000 if you're 50 and under, and over 50 is $8,000. They keep raising it, so cross our fingers. You can do an IRA to IRA transfer. So if you have an IRA at any other company, we'll just transfer that over for you. And the last one is an old 401k or old retirement plan. And so that each one, that's the reason to meet with me is that we can sit down and say, well, what do you have? What are your goals? What are you looking to do? Let's get this account open, because each one of those companies will have a little bit different method for moving your money into an IRA. And so we can look at that together if it's an old employer 401k. And then the third thing is you really just point. You just say, I want to purchase this and go into this syndication with Senate, and we'll have all the subscription agreements and documents ready for you.
So one of the things that I love to do, thanks, Mandy, is, and Senate knows this, is we love to educate first, practice what we preach by offering a free self-directed retirement account at no cost to you for the first year, okay? Because ball's in your court at the end of the day, not ours. And I don't want you to think it's about $195 because we don't care about $195, because you're going to do this, you're going to understand the process, and then you're going to go teach somebody else, right? Senate, you know the saying, give a man a fish, he won't go hungry for the day, but you teach a man to fish. That's the whole concept for us, right?
Absolutely.
That's what we want to do for you as educators, first and foremost. I don't want you to work for the rest of your life. I don't want them to be in control anymore. It really pisses me off. So, and it pisses off Mandy, and there's no excuses. All you got to do is pull out your phone, scan the QR code, and Senate, forgive me, I think I put this in the chat. I wasn't sure if you were able to share it with everybody, if anybody's probably listening online or doesn't have their phone next to them. But I think you put it in the chat, and it'll take them to your landing page.
Yep, I'll put it in the chat right now.
Awesome. And the promo code is Senate. So everybody say thank you to Senate because he's giving everybody a free IRA account. Thank you, Senate. Or if you're not sure what to do or what are the next steps, or don't talk to me. Please don't talk to me. I'm kidding. If you want to call me, visit IRA Club and call the IRA Club and talk to me. But Mandy's your point of contact. She's got a team of 3 at Idaho Falls that will always ensure you're in the right vehicle before you move forward. Okay.
And it's not even an or Ramos, because if they reach out to me and schedule with me, I'm still going to give them that Senate code so they get it free.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
There you
done.
go.
All right, fine. That's why you're here. Okay. I'm just here for the Bud Light. So I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do, is to help you. And I don't know where this came. I just sent it. I just threw this in. I want to introduce you to this. Is, again, food for thought. I want to plant the seed in everybody's head. This is the youngest IRA Club client. Her name is Ava Fakori, my daughter, 27 days old. She travels all over the country with me when she can, or my wife will let her go out. But get your kids started. As much as I love every one of you that's listening to this, the greatest gift you could ever give a child or grandchild is a Roth IRA account. The day that they're born, you put in $7,000, age 1, at 60 years old, let's just assume 10% returns. You could throw it in the S&P 500, $2 million, tax-free.
Tax-free. That means
$7,000.
yeah, when they go to retire, they're not going to be paying taxes on that. That is their money to do with what they want. And my daughter wasn't the youngest, nor was my son, but they both have their Roth IRAs open, and me and old mom makes them put money in each month so that they can get to this point.
Yep, compounding is the 7th wonder of the world. I'm a big believer in this. This is, again, a $7,000 commitment. By the way, never tell your child that they have a Roth IRA account, because they're idiots. They don't know what the hell to do with their money. Never, until you're lying on your deathbed, do you let them know that they have a Roth IRA account. And teach them how to use it. Okay. And that's all I got for you. Sorry, I'll stop sharing. There we go.
That was awesome. Ton of education in there, a lot of value. I personally took 4, 5, 6, 7 notes here, it looks like. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of information. You guys are both very good educators. I really appreciate you taking that time to do that.
I hope it wasn't boring, so I'll try to make it a little entertaining. So
You're always entertaining, Ramos.
well, thank you, Mandy.
Yes, yes.
Everybody always makes fun of my hair. They think it's fake.
No, you just take a lot of time to make sure it looks perfect. It's great.
Honestly, I don't. It's like 2 seconds. I'm not like, everybody laughs at me, but no, it really takes 2 seconds.
Wow. Well, that's more talent. Maybe that's another webinar for another day. How to have your hair look that good in 2 seconds. So, do you have a few minutes for questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you answered the majority of these, but there's several that came in when people registered for the webinar. And I just want to look through them here real quick. And if you didn't answer them, then we can talk about it. Let's see. There's one about fees. You covered that. This one's interesting. Second thing about fees. It's how do your fees compare to other custodians? And I know you all want to probably talk about other custodians, but I know your fees, but.
So, Senate, I will never, ever, and Mandy knows this, we'll never badmouth our industry. We love our industry because at the end of the day, again, we're educators. But one of the things that's really disappointing and that's making me really upset is our industry, the true self-directed industry, is now switching over to a percentage-based model because there's more money involved at the end of the day. And the bigger institutions are actually swallowing up the smaller guys. Okay. IRA Club's not one of the smaller companies. We're actually one of the bigger. I'll say we're in the middle of the pack, like I said. But I'm not going to mention any other companies. You're more than welcome to do the research. We are actually, I would say, I don't want to say we're the absolute cheapest, but we're on the lower. Mandy, would you say like the 30th, like the third and below, I would say. Yeah. And just be careful. You don't want to go to the absolute cheapest custodian that's out there. there's a saying out, that I believe in. You get what you pay for. Okay. I just think the bigger guys they're just the
They
hand
talk-
holding, the white glove is gone. Like the hand holding is
Yeah.
gone. So that's just be careful. Do your research. For us, it's $195 and $195 per investment. You want to go pick stocks? We don't care. It's for free.
And that's kind of what I talk to people about every day is the three things that really separate us is the flat fees. So even when you're doing your research, look at the flat fee versus a percent based, or even they'll call it flat based, but it'll be a tiered model. So like Ramos is saying, do your research because at the end of the day, it's your money and you want to be making it work, not paying it in fees. And I think what you'll see is ours is very comparable and very we actually beat out most of our competitors. The second thing is that, you might be able to get a cheaper company, but you're not going to get the phone call. You're not going to get the personal representative that will answer your phone call, say hi with an actual voice, not press 1 to get to this point. And, if you're like my husband, he's ready to kill something at the end of those calls. And so you get those two pieces. And then the third thing is there aren't any other self-directed companies that have the AI platform that gives you just one more option. And we're very few that even have a stock market option. And so it's a great opportunity to take the dividends off of a deal like Senate's and be able to do something with them rather than just sit in cash. So
Correct.
those three things, they just put us above and beyond.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Mandy. Like that personal touch, that personal service. I've had a lot of experience with other companies in your space, and people don't get that personal touch. And the stock platform and the fact that you don't charge the fee to be able to use that stock platform, that's phenomenal. It's absolutely huge.
I just want to mention IRA Club does not charge a fee. What we negotiated for our IRA Club clients on behalf of iFlip, so it's iFlip's platform that we actually paid for to use. It's a flat fee model also, so they do not charge percentages, and it's $7 a month to use the platform. Okay, it is a tiered structure. Mandy's more than happy to tell you, but it is drastically cheaper. Drastically cheaper. That I promise.
That's
No
amazing.
doubt.
That's amazing. Okay, so the next question I have from the registrants is, and you covered this, what you said is that you'll take care of all the tax filings. This one's very specific. The question is, do you file the 990 forms and the UBIT returns?
I love that you said that. No. So UBIT, we do not. Here's the reasons why we don't file the UBIT is because we don't know what your actual returns are. So you have to talk to your CPA when there's UBIT involved. For those of you that are listening that don't know what UBIT is, which is unrelated business income tax. So that's when you leverage a property, or if there is leverage against a syndication, UBIT will always be incurred. Okay. And it's a 4-tier, and you're more than welcome to go to iraclub.com, go to our for clients underneath guides. There's an actual case study for UBIT, and you could actually see what those tax implications are going to be. But no, we can't do that because we don't know your actual returns. You have to talk to your CPA. And those are filed traditionally with your CPA. I'm talking about the 1099-R. If you have a solo 401k, the 5500 form is filed by us. The distributions, that if you are taking a distribution, we will file that on your behalf. The RMD, required minimum distribution, we will tell you what that number is. Although I will say this, I don't know if anybody saw the whole other topic of discussion, Senate. The RMD rule has changed drastically, that we really recommend that you talk to your CPA about the RMDs, but not in particular UBIT. No, we do not touch the UBIT tax.
Okay, you answered perfect. Thank you. You answered the next question was actually about our RMDs. So I'm glad you covered that you help with that calculation.
73 is the RMD as of last year. By 2030, because of the Secured Act 2.0, that age is going to jump to 75 by 2030. So for those of you that are, 5 years, 6 years out, guess what? You're going to get an additional 2 more years to hold your money that much longer.
That's perfect. That's great. Okay, that's all the questions I have on the list.
Awesome.
And all the questions on the chat have been answered. So I think we hit everything. Thank you both for doing this. I really appreciate it. And Mandy, especially for you taking time on a day like this when you've got such a big event for your family. And congratulations, by the way. It's great.
Thanks.
I really appreciate you guys both being on here. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Fun. It's worth it.
It's always worth it. I love, Mandy's an educator. Most people don't know that. She takes pride on this. It's just a different type of education. It's financial literacy is what she's doing right now. So I always praise Mandy and I always thank her. So I hope everybody learned something new today. Some of you probably already know what a self-directed retirement account. So some of it was redundant. And I hope even though you learned something about fees and whatnot. So thank you.
yeah, thanks for being here. We'll do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll wrap it up, and I'll issue the recording for everybody who wants to watch us over again. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, or you have Mandy's contact as well. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.